I'm not going in there thinking, oh, I can't hurt this guy. But I'm not going in there at the same time. I'm trying to knock him out. I'm trying to, fight my fight. And if the knockout is there, then of course I'm going to take it.
And listen, I told my boy Jazz, I already caught the biggest fish in Texas. About to get out here and get it in. Y'all see the water. I know who the #1 fisherman is. Even big fish get caught.
Terence Crawford is taking his training seriously. He's been working harder than ever, getting stronger, bigger, and more aggressive as he prepares for his big fight against Canelo Alvarez on September 13th.
We back in the gym, and I got my hair done. Shout out to the braider. My hang time. We've been working all day. All day we've been working, baby. All day.
If anyone thought Crawford was going to stay quiet and let Canelo control the lead up to their fight, they were mistaken. Crawford made that clear when he showed up unannounced at the Canelo vs. William Skull press conference, almost turning it into a full-blown fight.
We'll get Skull in May and Canelo Crawford in September, because then that adds more interest into the Canelo Crawford fight, because it's Crawford going to challenge the undisputed champ, which gives Canelo more clout for becoming undisputed twice at 68 in this era where there are a bunch of young hungry lions, and it gives Crawford the ability to become a 3-time undisputed.
This wasn't just a random outburst from Crawford, it was a clear warning. He's not just aiming to beat Canelo, he's out to make a bold statement. And Crawford isn't the only one sending messages. Coaches are speaking up too, stressing how seriously he's taking this fight. Strength and conditioning coach Rob Aosta has raised concerns, saying Crawford could face a tough challenge. Aosta, along with many fans, believes Crawford is making a big mistake by gaining weight too quickly. He's bulking up to 180 pounds just through eating, not by gradually adjusting through proper training. He didn't work his way up to 180, Aosta said, shaking his head at Crawford's approach.
A big jump. To be honest, I don't know who's going to win that fight. I think Canelo has a lot of power up there. I feel like Canelo will win that fight, to be honest. I think he has a lot of skills and power at that weight. I think he's comfortable up there. I think I see Canelo winning that fight.
If you think Crawford is worried, you're mistaken. He's training like a machine, sparring with bigger opponents and pushing himself harder than ever. He believes his speed, power, and skill will be enough to take down Canelo, despite Canelo's size and experience at 168 pounds. That confidence is exactly why he crashed Canelo's press conference in the first place. Crawford wasn't there for a payday. He's there to take it all.
Yet and still, he want $200 million for Benavidez, and he want $150 million to fight me. So that just lets me know right there that I'm a threat to him. I'm a threat to him. I'm a threat to his leg.
William Skull wasn't happy about the situation. The IBF super middleweight champion already feels disrespected, with fans and the media treating his May 3rd fight against Canelo as an afterthought. All this talk about Canelo versus Crawford is an insult. It's very disrespectful to me as a world champion, Skull told Ring magazine.
I want him to be uncomfortable. That's going to be a key for me. And then, when the time comes, I want to shut everybody up that already has the September fight in mind.
Skull feels completely overlooked, with everyone assuming Canelo will win and move on to the big fight with Crawford. And honestly, who can blame him for being frustrated? Even Turki Al-Sheikh, the man behind the huge Saudi Arabian boxing events, is already hyping up Canelo versus Crawford like Skull isn't even in the picture. But let's be honest, does Skull even stand a chance? Sure, he has the height, reach, and hunger, but Canelo is on another level. And the fact that Crawford is already trying to get under Canelo's skin? That just shows how serious this upcoming battle is going to be.
I'm about to be a 2-time undisputed fighter, so that's all about.
You mentioned the Cuban style up there. What other challenges does Skull present to you, though?
Oh, he's a very skillful fighter. He's have a lot of talent, but I've been in the with all kind of the styles, so I can adapt myself.
Crawford isn't just facing Canelo inside the ring. He's also dealing with a lot of doubt from fans outside of it. Some believe he's making a huge mistake by skipping the middleweight division and jumping straight into a 168-pound fight. They argue that he should have fought at 161st, maybe against someone like J.C. Alam Connolly, to adjust to the power of bigger fighters. Instead, Crawford is relying on his confidence and his history of dominating lower weight classes.
Canelo fans, please pray for Canelo. He's about to fight William Skull in Saudi. Pray for Canelo, bro. Pray for Canelo, bro.
Bro, but don't you get it? Canelo will never lose because Turkey needs him to win.
Yeah, he's not gonna lose.
There's no way Turkey gets his Crawford fight if Canelo loses, so that's not happening.
It's a deeper, darker criminal link. I don't trust it. Pray for Canelo.
And let's not ignore the obvious. Canelo has taken punches from some of the hardest hitters in boxing. This is a guy who's faced Gennady Golovkin multiple times, fought at light heavyweight, and absorbed blows from opponents much bigger than Crawford. So what makes Crawford think he can just walk in and take over? That's why Crawford's actions at the press conference were so telling. That brawl wasn't just about hyping up the fight, it was frustration, anger, and pure determination boiling over. Crawford knows the odds are against him, and he knows people doubt his ability to handle someone like Canelo. But instead of letting that shake his confidence, he's using it as fuel.
I think a lot of Canelo fans, for some reason, they know that there's no excuse. If he loses to Bud, this is a huge mark on his resume. If he beats Bud, he does beat a very accomplished fighter in this era. But there's no ready-made excuses in this fight for Canelo. Canelo should win this fight. And Canelo hasn't been in the fight that, there's no excuses. As far as a big fight, there's no excuses.
Crawford's team is all in. They believe he can shock the world, and they're doing everything they can to make sure he's in the best shape of his life. They know this isn't just another title fight, it's a legacy-defining moment. This is the fight that will either solidify Crawford as one of the greatest of all time or show that he bit off more than he could chew. Canelo Alvarez is making one thing clear, he's not underestimating Terence Crawford. In fact, he's already picking apart Crawford's record, questioning whether Bud truly deserves his undefeated status.
Terence Crawford, I see he wants to fight. He's made it clear. Do fights like that help your legacy, or do you feel like that's something that's not worth it to you?
Everything in my career, every fight make my legacy different and better. No, Terence Crawford is a great fighter. He's a good fighter, but like I say, he's weight classes for.
Canelo isn't just focused on their September fight. He's already throwing mental jabs, setting the stage for what's shaping up to be a heated showdown. One of the biggest talking points is Crawford's win over Israel Madrimov. Canelo flat out disagrees with the judge's decision, saying Crawford should have taken a loss that night. For me, I think he lost, Canelo said, doubling down on his belief that Madrimov did enough to win. At best, he sees it as a draw, but he doesn't see Crawford as a clear winner. Canelo's not buying it, and it's not just him, many fans don't see Crawford coming out on top in this fight either.
A lot of people that say that Crawford can beat Canelo, no problem. I mean, I respect that, but I just think they're stupid. I mean, excuse my language. The size difference of a bigger man changes everything with one punch.
This isn't just trash talk, it's a calculated move. Canelo is making sure Crawford knows that moving up in weight doesn't mean he's automatically going to dominate. He's reminding everyone why weight classes exist. There's a reason fighters don't just jump divisions without serious consequences, Canelo said. His mindset heading into this fight is dangerous for Crawford.
I always say, I respect Terence Crawford. He's a very talented fighter, but he just win one big fight. If you see his record, he just beat one good fighter like Errol Spence is. But other than that, I don't think he's beating other great fighter like Spence.
Canelo isn't treating this like a regular title defense. He's preparing like he has something to prove. He's already fully locked in. While Crawford has been focused on bulking up, Canelo has been honing his skills, making sure his timing, power, and endurance are on point. However, some pros still believe Canelo may not be up to the task.
I'm going with Terence Crawford. Big weight jump, a dangerous fight, but somebody's got to prove to me that they can break Terence Crawford's will and that he can't figure it out against you. It ain't no disrespect toward Canelo, but I've said this the last couple of years. I'm not betting against Terence Crawford against nobody right now. You got to show me that you can.
Unlike some of Crawford's past opponents, Canelo isn't intimidated by the Bud hype. He's fought and beaten some of the best across multiple weight classes, and he's confident that Crawford's skills won't be enough to overcome his power, experience, and ring IQ as an elite super middleweight. Now, let's talk about the power difference. Madrimov was able to make things tough for Crawford, but he's nowhere near as dangerous as Canelo. If Crawford struggled against a 154-pounder, what happens when he faces Canelo's body shots, counters, and relentless pressure? That's exactly what Canelo wants to expose, and it's what many believe could make this fight a risky move for Crawford.
Let me tell you what I think should be going. The notion that Terence Bud Crawford should move up 3 weight classes, 21 pounds, to fight Canelo Alvarez. He's entirely too small. Jermell Charlo already proved that. Y'all remember that scene from Rocky?
What makes this fight even more interesting is how personal it's already getting. Canelo has been through countless wars, faced endless doubters, and come out on top time and time again. He's not going to let Crawford shake him. If anything, it's just fueling his fire. But here's the thing, Canelo isn't just talking, he's working. His camp is already in full swing, and he's approaching this fight with the same intensity he brought to his trilogy with Gennady Golovkin and his showdowns with fighters like Caleb Plant and Jermell Charlo. He knows that a win over Crawford doesn't just add another belt to his collection, it shuts down all the talk about whether Crawford is truly the pound-for-pound best. But even Caleb Plant himself believes Crawford will give Canelo a tough challenge.
Terence is not a regular guy. You know what I'm saying? He's special. And, Canelo, he's a top-notch fighter, world-class fighter. Still on the pound-for-pound list, I'm sure towards somewhere near the top. And it's exciting. Terence is freakishly strong. He can punch. He's got good crack. He can fight from both ways. Orthodox, southpaw. He can fight at mid-range, close range, outside. And
that's the real fight here. Crawford wants to prove he's the greatest boxer of this era, but Canelo is standing in his way, reminding him that greatness isn't just about skill, it's about surviving wars. And make no mistake, Canelo is preparing for a war. Canelo Alvarez has always been a fighter who commands respect, but he's not handing any out to Terence Crawford. If there's one thing that drives Canelo, it's proving people wrong. Right now, he's making it clear that he believes Crawford's hype is overblown.
I think Canelo's gonna put the beats on him like Dr. Dre.
Do we get a knockdown from Canelo, or does Bud knock down Canelo?
Nah, Canelo's not going down. You could hit Canelo with a Louisville slugger. He's just gonna smile.
The Mexican superstar doesn't just think he'll beat Crawford, he's already questioning whether Crawford even deserves to be undefeated. That's a level of disrespect many fighters don't take lightly. But this is exactly what makes the fight so intriguing. Canelo doesn't just see Crawford as an opponent, he sees him as someone who hasn't truly earned his stripes at this weight. Canelo, a man who has ruled the sport for years, isn't about to let a smaller guy come up and take his throne.
Long enough, however, it's just with the weight, and Canelo, he's gotten better ever since Mayweather, but now he's decreased a little bit. Nevertheless, though, I think that think Canelo will get him.
Canelo has watched Crawford move through divisions, collecting belts along the way, but for him, Crawford's last performance at 154 was all the proof he needed that Crawford is in for a rude awakening at 168. The fight against Israel Madrimov exposed some flaws. Crawford got hit more than usual, didn't dominate, and looked human. And for Canelo, that's all he needed to see. The Mexican champion believes Madrimov exposed Crawford's vulnerabilities, and if a 154-pounder could do that, what's going to happen when Crawford faces a fighter who's been dominating top names at super middleweight?
I'm not even a fan of that fight. There are too many weight classes apart. And although the skills, Crawford is one of the best fighters that I've seen. Now, Canelo is, fighting at 168. Crawford just moved up to 154, and he had some trouble with that in that fight. Now, where do you plan on going? 164, 65, 66?
This fight is also deeply personal for Canelo. He's tired of the comparisons to Floyd Mayweather, the man who handed him his first loss. Crawford's slick boxing ability has drawn comparisons to Floyd, and that's enough to fuel Canelo with something extra. The last time Canelo faced a defensive genius, he got outclassed, but that was years ago. Now, he's older, stronger, and a completely different fighter. Canelo has taken down names like Gennady Golovkin, Caleb Plant, and Jermell Charlo, fighters with different strengths that he dismantled. In his mind, Crawford is just another name on that list. The only difference this time is that Crawford is the smaller man.
What up, Biz? Who you got? Canelo, Crawford?
Yeah, got Canelo. I heard the punches that he hit Charlo with. And
you was back further than me.
Yeah.
I wasn't back that far, but you was back.
Boom. Damn, I was in the nosebleed. I was like,
nah, you get money. You got
but I don't know if Crawford can absorb those punches.
Teddy Atlas, a veteran of the sport, pointed out the significant size difference in this matchup. He knows that while boxing is ultimately about skill, size does matter. Crawford may be a generational talent, but talent doesn't always outweigh physicality. Canelo is used to walking through hard punches from bigger opponents at 168, and he's never been stopped. So, what happens when Crawford, who spent most of his career fighting at 140 and 147 pounds, realizes that his punches aren't making Canelo hesitate? That's a terrifying moment for any fighter. And Canelo is betting on that moment to be the turning point.
How is Crawford, his composure, going to be like the moment a punch lands on him from Canelo?
Are you kidding me? Take that question back.
Yeah, why?
Because you're talking about Crawford. He's
the weight classes.
He's the most composed guy. What, you don't think he'll be prepared? You think it'll be a shock to him? No. He's already moved up 3 weight classes. So now you're talking 6. If you add on 3. Crawford has the ability to slow things down in the ring that very few people have, and to see things that nobody else can see because he slows it down.
Dimitri Bivol, the man who handed Canelo his second career loss, has given some insight into what makes the Mexican vulnerable. He pointed out that Canelo throws every punch with full power, every time. It's all about force, all the time. And that style can be exhausting. Bivol took advantage of that by letting Canelo punch himself out, then dominating in the later rounds. However, Crawford isn't a natural 175-pounder like Bivol, so he won't have the same physical edge. Canelo has learned from that loss and has made adjustments.
First reaction, of course, it was about size of Crawford. Is it okay for him to move up for 2 weight classes? Yeah, and he has very good skill. He able to win this fight, but there is a lot of but, and even not but, there is a lot of things, small things which we don't know.
Crawford's trainer, Brian McIntyre, is confident. He believes Crawford's boxing IQ will make the difference and isn't worried about Canelo's power. He's focused on outboxing him. But this isn't like the Errol Spence Jr. fight, where Crawford could gradually break down his opponent and then take control. Canelo isn't going to be bullied. He's going to test Crawford in ways he's never been tested before. And then there's the bigger question of Crawford's future. How will he handle a challenge like this?
I just look at Canelo like he can be beat. He's been beat before, so he definitely, Bud got the tools to beat him. I mean, Bud got it in him. He has it in him. If it plays out like that, and if he wanted to play out like that, that just tell you that he believes in himself.
If Crawford manages to pull off the impossible and beat Canelo, the question becomes, what's next? Does he retire as one of the greatest ever, or does he drop back down to 154 and continue to clean out the division? Crawford has hinted he might be open to returning to that weight, but the real question is, will the hunger still be there if he makes history against Canelo? On the flip side, if he loses, his legacy could take a hit. He would go from being the fighter who couldn't be beaten to just another great who dared to be great and fell short. It's a risk every fighter faces, but for someone like Crawford, who's built his entire career on winning, it could be a devastating blow. Canelo has his own future to think about as well. If he beats Crawford, does he go after Bivol again and settle things at light heavyweight once and for all? Or does he continue to dominate at 168, proving that no one in that weight class can touch him? A win over Crawford would remind the world that this is still his era. No matter how great fighters like Crawford are, they're not walking into his division and taking his belts. This isn't just another fight, it's about history, pride, and proving who's truly the best. Right now, Canelo Alvarez is making it clear that Terence Crawford is stepping into his world, and he plans on making him regret it. But it seems Crawford is more than ready for the challenge. Gerent Boots Ennis has never been one to sugarcoat his opinions, and his recent comments about Terence Crawford's chances against Canelo Alvarez are no different. While some fans believe Crawford's elite skills will carry him to an upset, Ennis isn't convinced. He respects Crawford's abilities, but sees too many disadvantages that could cost him in the ring. Moving up from 154 pounds after just one fight and skipping an adjustment bout at 168 raises serious concerns for Boots. He believes the size gap, Canelo's experience, and Crawford's inactivity all play against him in this matchup. Ennis's breakdown of the fight goes beyond just weight. He pointed out how Crawford's power didn't seem to carry up from 147 pounds when he fought Israel Madrimov. While Crawford pulled off the win, it wasn't dominant, and he took more damage than usual. That's a red flag for Ennis. If Madrimov could land cleanly and test Crawford's durability, what happens when Canelo, a proven puncher at 168, connects?
What does Terence Crawford have to do to be successful in that fight?
Be smart. Take his time. Boxing move. Yeah, don't sit there and let him try to bomb on him.
What about Canelo Alvarez?
I feel like just going to press him.
That thought alone is enough for Boots to confidently lean toward Canelo winning this fight. Then there's the issue of time. Crawford has been out of the ring for over a year, which isn't ideal for a fighter making such a significant weight jump. Meanwhile, Canelo has stayed active, recently fighting Jermall Charlo and Jamie Munguia. Ennis sees that as another major advantage for the Mexican superstar. Fighting bigger opponents regularly keeps Canelo in the rhythm of handling stronger men, while Crawford is coming into the division cold. Boots believes that's a recipe for disaster.
To be honest, I was sitting in the gym and Bill Haney came up to me and he was like, man, forget Spence. He was like, go fight Canelo. Ooh. And I was looking at him, I was like, man, Canelo way up there. And he was like, no, that's your fight.
Boots also touched on another factor that's causing people to question Crawford's decision to take this fight: his age. At 38, Crawford is nearing the end of his prime, and physical decline is inevitable. The signs are already there, according to Ennis. While the gray in Crawford's beard and his receding hairline might not mean much to some, for a fighter, aging is something that can't be ignored. Ennis isn't saying Crawford is washed up, but he's pointing out that Crawford is no longer the young, explosive athlete he once was. Against someone as durable and battle-tested as Canelo, that could make a big difference.
Situation. If you beat him, he's too small. If he beats you, you got beat by a small man. What changed that to possibly have you entertain that fight?
You know, I can see people want to see that fight too. So I think it's starting making sense, and it's a possibility there. Yeah. So we'll see.
I think this fight is shaping up to be one of the most intriguing matchups in recent boxing history. Crawford has the skills, but Canelo's experience and power are major factors that can't be ignored. The jump in weight and time off are significant challenges for Crawford, and age is always a factor in these high-stakes bouts. Canelo's proven durability and ability to handle bigger opponents make him a tough test. If Crawford can use his speed, IQ, and elusive style, he might have a shot, but he'll need to be near perfect. It's a tough fight for Crawford, but he's shown before that he's capable of pulling off big surprises. What do you think? Share your thoughts below and subscribe for more updates.